Let's dive into Django's training so we can stay consistent at home. Whenever we're working with Django, we want to reward to reinforce the behaviors we want to continue to see, and we also want to follow through with our training equipment to discourage the unwanted behaviors that we don't want to see from Django. So let's dive into his training collars. So what we're going to do when we take Django for a walk, we're going to make sure we attach the leash to his prong collar. We're going to attach the leash to the D-ring, the one that swivels. And how we're going to put this on and take it off Django is we are going to hold one prong steady, and then we're going to slide this prong down, and we're going to take it apart. As he grows, we will add links to the collar so that it fits. It should swivel around his neck. It shouldn't get caught, but it also shouldn't be hanging like a necklace. Then we're going to take this prong, squeeze it into the next one. Now, how to use this collar whenever we need to get Django's attention. For example, when we're in the heel. Heel means walk next to us on a nice loose leash. If he tries to forge ahead, we're going to say no, pop and release the leash to give him a little reminder, and then tell him heel so he understands what our expectations are. And then, of course, when he's walking nicely next to us, we're going to tell him good heel and either reward with treats, praise, or petting. Then let's dive into his remote collar. So how to turn this collar on. We have the little red dot right here. On the remote, matching red dot, we're going to touch the two together, see a green light to know that it's on, charged, ready to go. To turn on the remote that we're going to use with Django, the on-off button in the back, we're going to push and hold that until the screen lights up. Now, he floats between level 10 and 15. It just depends on the level of distraction that's going on. So if he's a little bit more distracted, we need to use level 15. If he's a little less distracted, like maybe at home, level 10 should get his attention, and I will show you how to do that at the end of the video to adjust the levels for him, because right now it is locked. So we're going to focus on the black S button. We'll go over the rest of the features of the remote collar at the end of the video. So along with the prong collar, we're going to use the remote collar to communicate with Django what our expectations are. So in the heel position, we want him to walk nice next to us on a nice loose leash. If he decides to try and walk ahead or do anything other than walk nicely next to us, we're going to tell him no. We're going to mark the incorrect behavior, follow through with the black S button, and then tell him heel to remind him of what our expectations are. So again, that's no, button, heel. Same thing with the prong collar. No, follow through, and then give the command again. So we're going to do that with all of Django's commands. So what we want to do is set him up for success. So for example, when people are coming over, instead of trying to tell him no, don't jump because he's excited, let's give him an incompatible behavior to do. So for example, place. Place would be a great example to use during that time where people are coming in and he's overly excited. That will help prevent the jumping and nipping that puppies tend to do when they are overly excited, overly stimulated. So we'll tell him to go to place. The expectations of place are stay on the bed, no barking and no getting off until we tell him free. And with Django, we don't free from a distance. So let's back up a little bit. We're going to talk about sit. Sit means stay until he's told free or heel. So for example, door manners, we're going to have him sit at the doors going into and out of the house. That way we help with not pulling on our walks and we create that kind of expectation right from the start. So we have him sit, we open the door, and we can either tell him free or heel as we go through the door together. And it just depends on the situation. Sometimes you can remind him sit and you can go through the door first, or you can just walk through together, whatever works. Then we have down. Down means stay, lay down and stay until we tell him free. Now with down in place, we don't want to free him from a distance. So when he's in that position, when we're ready for him to get up from that position, whether it's down or place, we always go back to him, tell him he did a good job, good down, good place, and then we'll tell him free while we're standing next to him. We don't free from a distance. We want to keep that stay nice and strong. If he gets up from any of the stays, we're going to tell him no, follow through with the equipment, have him go back to that stay, whether it's sit down or place, until we tell him free. So we want to make sure that he does the commands on our terms, not on his own. Now, for example, if you tell him sit and he lays down, that's fine. But we're talking about getting up from this day. So if he gets up from this day before you release him, no, follow through, and then have him do the command again. If he does stay through all of this, we're going to make sure good down, good boy, and maybe give a treat once in a while to, again, reinforce the behaviors we want to keep seeing from Django. Then we have come when called. So when we're practicing this, we're not putting Django in a sit and then backing up 10 feet and calling him to us. We're going to tell him free. He is free to explore because this is going to be more realistic when we need him to come to us. He's not waiting for our next command. He's off exploring, chasing a butterfly or something. So we're going to tell him free. While he's distracted, we're going to practice by saying come or Django come. As he comes to us, he's excited, he's running. We don't want to bring the treats up here. We want to give his nose a target. So I like putting the treat or my hand on my lower thigh, like right above my knee, giving his nose a target to run to, have him sit, and then we give him the treat. So Django come, praise the action as he's coming to us. Good boy, have him sit, hand target, low on the leg, that way he doesn't jump up, reward, and then we can tell him free and move on to the next exercise. Then we have leave it. Leave it means don't grab that. So we practice with food because Django loves food. So it's important to practice with something that he's going to go for. If you drop something on the ground or something like that, tell him leave it. If he does, great. If not, follow through. Same thing with come when called. If you call him to you, make sure to follow through if he does not come to you the first time. Now, if you're practicing in an area that doesn't have a fence, always have a long leash on him for safety reasons. Do not practice off leash until we've done it a lot. It takes 3 to 4 weeks for a dog to learn a behavior, 4 to 6 months for that behavior to become long-term memory, or 500 reps. So it takes a lot of practice before we can make that jump to potentially off leash. So those are Django's commands. We want to make sure we're working with him. We have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you his commands in action. Thank you. Down. Good boy. Good down. 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 Good down. Good down. Good down. Good boy. Down. Free. Good boy. Let's dive into the other features of the remote collar. So we know how to turn the collar on. To turn it off, same way. Red dot, on and off feature. On off button in the back. Push and hold. It'll say OF. Push and hold. We'll turn that back on. So we went over the black S button, that is the level 15. The red S button is the boost feature. This is for emergencies only. It will add 15 to whatever number is on the screen. So this would be used for oh no moments where, for example, if Django were to take off towards the road and we're calling him and we're like, no, come, and he's chasing something that's really interesting, this will hopefully snap him back to reality because level 15 works for the threshold here and below. But if he's chasing something and his threshold goes up here, we need something to match that. And level 15 just might not be it. So we have that 30 jump to hopefully snap him back. Say, oh, whoa, wait a minute, what am I doing? And then listen to us with the command. But again, always practice safety first. Try and keep a leash on Django, especially when we're not in a fenced-in area, to make sure that he is safe and we can reel him in if something like that were to happen. But we have that feature. Have not needed it for Django, but you do have it just in case. The T button on the side, that is vibrate. Just sends a little vibration, just like a phone. So with this, we would use it more as like a warning, like he's doing pretty good, but he's kind of goofing off a little bit, like, hey, kind of thing. You don't want to use this in the first couple months of training him at home, because then he's going to learn, oh, the rules aren't as strict here like they were at the training center. No, we want to make sure that the boundaries are laid out, crystal clear. This is what they are. We're going to follow through if you don't do them, but reward when you do. So I would use this when you're turning the collar on before you put this on Django. Make sure that it's on, ready to go before we put it on him, because we don't want to put a dead collar on him, because then it's useless. So then we have the on-off feature. That button is also a flashlight. So if we tap it again, it's a flashlight. The charger for the remote is back here. We want to keep that closed because this is waterproof. The M/C button you don't really need to worry about. It changes it from momentary to continuous, which is the stimulation. So if I push and hold, you'll see the red light. It's not going to continuously stimulate, but if you change it to C, it will. Now with this collar, it is waterproof. He should wear this collar every day while he's at home with you. I'll show you the charging port real quick. Every day, because you want the ability to communicate with him. Even if you're not going to do a whole lot of training sessions, you want the ability to, if he's doing something inappropriate or something that you do not want to continue to see, we have the ability to follow through. And then of course, balance that out with rewarding the behavior from Django that we want to continue to see. It's all about the balance. Make sure in this young puppy stage, we're rewarding as much as we can to encourage him to do the behaviors that we want to continue to see, and then of course follow through with the unwanted puppy behaviors and whatnot. All right, so the dial, how to change the level if 15 seems to be too much for Django. So the dial is locked in. We are going to push down and hold it. Now once the 1D is flashing, we can adjust the level. So we can adjust it to whatever we need it to be and then lock it down and hold it. So we'll go back to 15. Lock it down. And now you'll see that we won't accidentally adjust it if it's in our pocket or around our neck. So that's how you're going to adjust it. As Django matures, his level will change. It all depends on his personality and what distractions we're working on that day. So it will change throughout his maturity, adulthood, and so on. But it's important to stay consistent. And if you notice you're having to use the level over and over and over again for the same behavior, time to bump it up a little bit. So, but we don't want him like having a big reaction, because then it's too high. So we have to find that sweet spot. And right now his is between 15 and 10. It just depends. Okay. Now I know you have one of these already, but it does have a 2-year warranty. And this is what the charger is going to look like to charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. With Django, as he matures, I think his hair is going to be a little bit more on the thick end as far as German Shepherds go. So I would recommend changing to the longer prongs. That way it can weave through that hair a little bit easier. And then of course the instruction manual should still be in the box. That way you can go over all the buttons in greater detail. But if anything's acting funky with the collar, again, it does have a 2-year full warranty. So you can call the number on the box and get that taken care of if it starts acting wonky. So yeah, those are the rest of the features of the remote collar. If you have any questions, let us know. But of course, have fun, stay consistent, and give us a shout if you have any questions or concerns.